Born in 1988, the Tipo is the heir to the Ritmo. It is the last project wanted by Gadella, before his departure from Fiat. In his intentions, he had to follow the path started with the Uno, and become the leading car in the C segment, that of the compact midsize, the most important in Europe, in terms of technique, comfort and quality. On the first 2 points, he hit the target. The car stood out for its roominess and comfort, at the top of the category, and for its road holding, very safe and foolproof. As far as quality is concerned, it was a decisive step backwards, and the business card, for the new course of the Fiat company. In fact, the undoubted quality of the project, a good level of paint, and the excellent anti-rust treatment, were offset by rough finishes, for plastics and assemblies. Despite this, the Tipo was well received, and became the car of the year 1989. The initial range included fairly quiet versions, and until 1989, the role of the fastest model of the Tipo was entrusted to the turbo diesel. But in the years of the GTI phenomenon, a sporty version could not be missing. Those were the years of the 16 valves, and Fiat also took this path. That was not new to it. Tested in rallies since the 70s, this solution is presented in series production, with the group's flagship, the Lancia Thema, which, with the 1988 restyling, made its debut the 4-valve version of the famous 2-liter twin-shaft engine. The equation is logical: combine that engine with the body of the Tipo, and get the sports variant. In a short time, the first prototypes are made and tests begin. A smaller displacement variant is also evaluated, which is seen as the most suitable choice, to be proposed on the domestic market, burdened by taxation that penalizes large displacement. The 1.8 variant is prepared, in the 8-valve version, that will be seen later, on the Lancia Dedra and then on the Tipo Gran Turismo, and the 16V that will debut at the end of 1989 on the Tipo, while the 2-liter version will arrive in 1991. The most powerful variant, initially, is designed to become one of the fastest in the category, which with the debut of the Opel Kadett GSI 16V, the Peugeot 309 GTI 16, and the Citroën BX GTI 16V, saw the performance level rise a lot. We have gone from an average displacement of 1,600 and 1,800 cc, and powers in the order of 130, 140 horsepower, to the threshold of 2 liters, with powers above 150 horsepower, and speeds close to 220 km per hour. While testing various prototypes, with powers up to 160 horsepower, Fiat marketing, after market analysis, and studies on upcoming environmental regulations, decides on a car devoted more to compromise, and respect for the environment. Performance is overshadowed. The 2-liter version, initially flanks and then replaces, the 1.8, and follows the path of the Tipo, until the restyling of 93. On that occasion, the 3-door variant made its debut, initially not foreseen, but requested by the European market. The 16V becomes more sporty in aesthetics, less to the test of facts. On the altar of safety, the body becomes heavier, and this slows down even more the character of an engine which, as we will see, will have its moments of glory, even in competitions. In May 1995, the Tipo 16 valves ended its career, replaced, a few months later, by the Bravo HGT 20 valves. The history of the Tipo 16 valves is written in 3 chapters: the 1.8, the 2.0 and the 3-door. Let's see them in detail. Presented at the 1989 Frankfurt Motor Show, the 1.8 is the most discreet externally, the most performing, the rarest. Aesthetically, it is recognized by the unpainted bumpers, crossed by a subtle red profile. A discreet spoiler is mounted under the front shield. The fog lights are fitted as standard. The rims, in sheet metal, have specific wheel covers. But, practically all Tipo 16 valves will be equipped with the 4-spoke alloy wheels, offered on request. A small plate, with the inscription, i.e. 16V, stands out on the front fenders. The colors provided are chosen from among the sportiest and most elegant ones available for the other Tipo. The most noticeable change is represented by the seats, which are more profiled, and equipped with a voluminous headrest. The upholstery is specific, in a robust and pleasant gray fabric at the edges, and red cross-linked in the center. On request, anatomic Recaro seats, equipped with adjustable support for the legs, upholstered in black fabric on the sides, and gray on the center. In both cases, the driving position is correct and comfortable. The door panels, with a simple design, are covered in gray fabric. The dashboard is that of the normal Tipo, in black plastic. The 3-spoke steering wheel is new, with an original design, excellent grip, and without any freezes. The instrumentation, as Fiat tradition for the sports versions, is very rich. It includes all the necessary instruments, a rich battery of lights, and a useful check control. Like all Tipo, the habitability is remarkable. The finishes are discreet. Fabrics of excellent workmanship are contrasted with cheap-looking plastics, rigid and roughly assembled, with too many screws in sight. Options include air conditioner, manual sunroof, rear seatbelts, split rear seat. The engine is an evolution of the well-known Lampredi twin-shaft. The displacement is 1756 cc, the same value as the glorious 124 Sport. The light alloy cylinder head is new, with 4 valves per cylinder. The electronic injection system is the well-known IAW Weber. The declared power and torque values are similar to the more performing 1.8 competitors, 138 horsepower at 6,250 revolutions per minute, and 17 kilograms at 4,600 revolutions per minute. The gearbox has 5 gears, with relatively short ratios. The braking system has discs on the 4 wheels, the front ones are self-ventilating. ABS on request. Power steering as standard. Suspension. Independent wheel, with McPherson at the front, and arms pulled at the rear, with anti-roll bars for both axles. 55 liters petrol tank. Dimensions equal to the others Tipo, and declared weight of 1,100 kilograms. The performances declared by Fiat are at the top of the category, among the compact 1.8 16 valves. Top speed of 204 km per hour, acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour, in 8.5 seconds, and on the km from standstill, in 29.5 seconds. The declared consumption is 14.7 km/liter at 90 km per hour, 11.5 km/liter at 120 km per hour. 9.9 km/liter urban. The car was tested by all the Italian car magazines. The road holding is excellent. It is a safe and foolproof car, one of those cars, suitable for approaching sports driving, in total safety. It is a car that forgives almost everything. It is an understeer car, easily controllable. The rear axle is planted on the ground, and it is difficult to make it skid. The suspensions are not too rigid, and this penalizes the search for performance, in sporty driving, when the external front wheel loads all the weight, while the internal one loses traction. But it remains a very safe car. The engine has a nice character. Compared to other 16 valves of the period, it is never too empty. It starts to show a nice liveliness around 3,800, 4,000 revolutions per minute, while from 4,500, it changes character, and shows a nice extension, but also a good voice. The limiter cuts off around 7,000 revolutions per minute. It is also a fairly round engine in operation, and only has some roughness, around 4,000 revolutions per minute. Good gearbox, which retains the excellent maneuverability of the Tipo. It has precise and well-defined grafts, but it loses precision with the passage of time, and acquires more and more play and noise. It has relatively short ratios, which help keep the engine in torque. The steering is quite precise, it is not too light, proportionally better on the motorway than on guided routes. Excellent brakes for power and resistance, a little less modulation of the pedal. Driving comfort is good, thanks also to the not exaggerated rigid setup, and the availability of space on board, but also to the well-designed seats. Only the noise is a bit too evident, but this, on a sports car, is never a flaw. The version marketed in France is distinguished by headlights and fog lights with yellow bulbs, and alloy wheels as standard. At the end of 1990, a side adhesive strip was added, that takes up the red thread of the bumpers, and ends with the writing, i.e. 16V. The version marketed in England has no changes, except for the right-hand drive seat. Those were the years in which tuning made itself known throughout Europe, and the Tipo was successful. Various preparers try their hand at its customization, paying particular attention to aesthetics. Fiat itself has developed an official aerodynamic kit, designed by Zender, with structures to be applied to the bumpers, side skirts, and a spoiler on the tailgate, all of which can be painted in body color. Unofficially, an upgrade kit was also available, that brought the engine power to about 150 horsepower. For the markets of Germany, Austria, Switzerland and the Netherlands, Fiat offered the Abarth-branded customizations, whose catalog included bodywork, steering wheels, exhaust systems, sports trim, and various types of alloy wheels. In Italy, Orsiari presents an eye-catching kit that is also very accurate in terms of quality and aerodynamics, characterized by the widening of the wheel arch. Other elaborations come from various tuningers, including Horman and MS Design. The Tipo IE16 V1.8 had good sales success in the first months of marketing. It represented the right mix of performance and comfort, but, in part disappointed those who expected a more powerful version, which would follow in the footsteps of the Ritmo Abarth, and this, in a period in which other brands presented increasingly powerful models, was a big limitation. Fiat promises that the 2-liter version will be faster and more flashy. In October 1990, Fiat tries to characterize the Tipo 1.816V. It is called IE16V Sport. Nothing changes, except a new color among those available, the metallic blue France. With the launch of the 2.016V, in early 1991, the 1.8 was also updated, and now has matte black door pillars, integral windshield wipers, and the Fiat emblem on the steering wheel. In October 1991, the Tipo 1.816V goes out of production, after having been built, according to unofficial sources, in about 11,000 units. Geneva Motor Show, 1991. Fiat presents the most powerful Tipo, the 2.016 valves. It is a model on which the Lingotto relies heavily, especially with a view to expanding the European market. Compared to 1.8, it is more aggressive, but does not yield to the excessive aesthetic characterization of certain creations of the time. The first difference can be seen in the front view. The grille, now devoid of the two strips that delimited the two air intakes, has a successful design that makes the appearance of the nose more aggressive. The bumpers remain the same. The side skirts appear quite linear and not very conspicuous, on which a thin red profile runs. The standard alloy wheels are 15-inch, diamond-finished and 5-spoke. The Italian Settis of Valvoli word appears on the rear license plate holder. The appearance of the rear lights also changes, now fully colored in red. The plates on the fenders show the words 2.016V. Finally, the rear-view mirror caps are in body color. The color range incorporates the shades expected for the latest 1.816V. The seats have the same structure as those of the 1.8, the upholstery changes, now a cloth with a more elegant and well-made design. On request, Recaro seats that maintain the same upholstery as the standard ones. Another modification, the steering wheel, a 3-spoke Momo, covered in black leather, similar in design to that mounted on the Fiat Uno Turbo and Ferrari 348. The accelerator pedal is sporty and perforated. Slightly changed the graphics of the instrumentation. Options include air conditioner, electric sunroof, central locking remote control. The engine has a displacement of 1995 cc. Conceptually identical to the 1.8, it is offered exclusively in a catalyzed version. It boasts balancing countershafts. The power is 148 horsepower at 6,250 revolutions per minute, and the torque of 18 kilograms at 5,000 revolutions per minute. Compared to pure performance, regularity of operation and reduced emissions have been favored. The exhaust system, equipped with a 3-way catalyst and EGR valve, is the result of an accurate study that led to the creation of a particular insulated manifold, in order to quickly bring the exhaust gases to the optimum temperature for the correct functioning of the catalyst. The gearbox is the same, well maneuverable, as the 1.8. The only change is the slightly longer 5th gear. The braking system boasts self-ventilated front discs of larger diameter. ABS remains on request. The suspension has stiffer settings for shock absorbers, springs, and anti-roll bars. 185/55 series tires, mounted on 6-inch X15 alloy wheels. On request, 195/50/15. Fiat declares a top speed of 207 km per hour. Acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour, in 8.4 seconds. Consumption declared 13.3 km/liter at 90 km per hour, 10.8 km/liter at 120 km per hour, 8.7 km/liter urban. It was tested by the main Italian magazines, and in all cases, the acceleration and reprise values were worse than stated, but also of the 1.816V, lighter and not catalyzed. Compared to the 1.8, it has a more rigid setup. The new adjustments, and larger wheels, improve steering precision and lateral grip, and make handling sportier and slightly more nervous, but always very safe. Understeer is less noticeable, while the rear is more responsive in release. In the wet, safety remains very high. The gearbox invites a sporty drive, thanks to the short ratios, and excellent handling, but the engine appears less ready than the 1.8. He seems strangled, harnessed, not free to express his potential. And here, it is necessary to open a parenthesis. I tried several Tipo 2.016V, in addition to having had one, and each had a different behavior. Some were more ready at the bottom, others had a greater reach. In almost all of them, I have found operating irregularities. It seems to be due to the factory settings, carried out to keep the CO2 values within the homologation parameters. In fact, the potential of the engine was limited, but, with a few changes, she could bring out all of his character. Excellent braking, very powerful and resistant, and even on this model, the consumption of front pads is high. Consumption is quite high. The 2.016V was also exported to Great Britain, where it had a better response than the 1.8. It did not have any variance, compared to the left-hand drive versions. The 2.016V had a good sales success in Spain. The version for the Iberian market is characterized by a wing mounted on the tailgate, and the 2.016 valve lettering on the rear of the side skirts. The 2.016V was also the object of the attention of the tuningsters. The Horman version was very successful, while the achievements of Romaldini, and those of KW Tuning, are much more striking. The 2.016V was also used in competitions. In particular, on the track, in the various national touring championships, with good results in Italy, especially with the cars prepared by Vaccari, but also in uphill races, and rallies. In all cases, never officially. The engine was used in Formula 3, with excellent results, as we will see. Born as 2.016V, at the end of 1991, it took the name 2.0IE16V Sport. In mid-1992, the identification plates change. On the tailgate, it becomes Tipo 2.0IE, and those on the front fenders bear the inscription 16V. It is a more complete, more successful car than the 1.8, but it does not have the same character. It is better in road holding, braking, and driving precision, but it has lower performance and worse fuel consumption. Despite this, it had its moment of glory, and about 12,000 copies were sold. In January 1993, he leaves the scene, leaving the place of sports car, in the Tipo range, uncovered until April 1993, the month in which the three-door version makes its debut. On the occasion of the restyling of the Tipo, which also sees the debut of the three-door variant, Fiat presents the revamped sports version, which is offered exclusively in the new bodywork configuration. The official name is Fiat Tipo 2.016V Sport 3 doors. The side view appears more slender, thanks to the large windows, but it does not appear perfectly successful. The doors vary, too wide, and fails to harmonize with the rest of the side. The lateral flaps have a more elaborate design. The front has the new thinner headlights, and also the new grille, more protruding, has a narrower slit. The rear is unchanged. New design of the alloy wheels, 5 convex and rounded spokes. The color range is reduced from 12 to 9 shades, with more elegant tones that match those already seen on the previous series. The seats reflect the design of the previous versions. The fabric is gray, crossed by a band reminiscent of the Martini racing colors. On request, the beautiful Recaro, covered in black fabric on the sides, and gray in the center. Always on request, the black leather upholstery. The door panels are more elaborate, with edges covered in black plastic, and a central part in gray fabric. The dashboard is renewed in design. The front is now crossed by a rounded profile that frames the air intakes. The standard 4-spoke steering wheel, covered in leather. On request, the driver's airbag, and in this case, the steering wheel is a pleasant 3-spoke wheel. The instrumentation has slightly revised graphics. The most important change is the renewed 3-door body, strengthened in the structure, and equipped with anti-intrusion bars on the doors. This will lead to an increase in the weight of the car, with repercussions on performance and handling on the road. The engine is practically unchanged from the previous version. Adjustments change, leading to a slight variation in power and torque values. To compensate for the weight increase, the declared HPR 142 at 6,000 revolutions per minute. The torque is 18.7 kilograms at 4,500 revolutions per minute. In June 1994, the declared maximum power value drops to 139 horsepower at 5,900 revolutions per minute. The gearbox is the same as the previous series. It has some structural changes, and sees the ratio of the second gear slightly lengthened, and that of the fifth slightly shortened. The braking system is unchanged. The setup, based on the experience of the 5-door version, has undergone a refinement in the adjustments, to compensate for the different behavior of the 3-door body, which is more rigid. Fiat declares significantly worse values than the 5-door version. Top speed of 202 km per hour, and acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour in 9.8 seconds, lower fuel consumption than the previous series. This version has also been tested by Italian car magazines. On the 3-door, the values found were better than declared. Compared to previous versions, you immediately feel a clear improvement in noise and rhombosity of the body, due to the better torsional rigidity of the 3-door. The engine is more full-bodied than the 5-door, and the correct spacing of the gear ratios allows more effective acceleration and reprise. Delivery appears smoother and less throttled than the previous version. The gearbox maintains the excellent maneuverability that the Tipo has become accustomed to. Braking is on the same high standards as the 5-door. Behavior changes. The understeer is increased slightly, but easily controlled by using the steering and accelerator. Rather, the nervousness of the rear has been accentuated, which is now more ready to run away in cornering releases, and the more the speed increases, the more it requires attention. In the wet, the grip remains high and safe, but the car is more reactive in reactions. The 16 valves 3-door was also marketed in England, with some success in a hard-fought market, such as that of hot hatches. Fiat Brazil has prepared the variant for the South American markets. Aesthetically identical to the European versions, it has some variations. The similarly designed alloy wheels have a diameter of 14 inches, and 195/60/14 tires, the higher shoulder of which is more suitable for rough roads. Internally, the same seats and upholstery of European versions. It was marketed in South American countries, and had good sales success in Brazil and Argentina. The handsome engine of the Tipo 16 valves was adopted by Dallara in the Formula 3 championships from 1992 to 1995. Its racing evolution was studied by Abarth and Nova Motor. The original block is combined with a specific head. The electronics are also different, and can be varied in the maps from the cockpit. Respecting the parameters of the regulations, it boasts a power of 170 horsepower at 5,800 revolutions per minute. Thanks to the particular delivery, it was considered the best engine in the category. And in fact, the Dallara F393 Fiat won the 1993 Italian Championship, the French Championship from 1993 to 95, the German Championship of 94, and boasts numerous successes on tracks throughout Europe from 1992 to 1995. Even the 3-door has been revised by various European tuningsters. Mechanical elaborations have been carried out on this version, which bring the power to values higher than 150 horsepower, and, in some cases, higher than 170 with the aspirated engine, while some preparers engage in transplantation the turbocharged unit of the Fiat Tipo. The 16 V3-door, proportionally, had more success in sales abroad than in Italy. It is appreciated in Germany and Great Britain. In Italy, it is not considered to be up to par with its competitors in terms of performance, and foreign GTIs are preferred. About 10,000 were produced, excluding the South American variants. In May 1995, he leaves the scene, putting an end to the Sports Tipo saga. A few months later, it will be replaced by a more modern and refined car, the Bravo HGT 2.0 20 valves, which retains the platform of the Tipo. Tofas, Turkish manufacturer of licensed Fiat models, presented its version of the Tipo 2.0 16 valves, in 1996. It is a mix between the 1991 and 1993 version. Sold only in the 5-door variant, it presents the front of the restyling series. The bumpers are partially painted in vehicle color. The side skirts are those of the 16 V3 door. The alloy wheels are 14-inch, chosen to adapt to bad roads. A bumper molding appears on the side. On the tailgate, Tipo 2.0 IE16V, and Tofas nameplate. Inside, low-profile seats that reproduce the fabric of the Tipo 2.0 16V5P from 1991, and headrests also for the rear seat. The mechanicals are that of the 91 5-door version, with 148 horsepower. It was produced until 2002. What about the Tipo 16 valves? Valid cars, in terms of driving safety and habitability. They have a certain personality, and a successful mix between not excessive sportsmanship and discretion. They lack performance, and this, in an era characterized by the GTI phenomenon, was perhaps the biggest limit to the success of the model. Even the rough finishes have contributed to the particular commercial history of the Tipo. These were the years in which we began to look at the value for money. It is true that the Tipo had a list price among the most affordable in the category, but some construction shortcomings clashed with a C-segment car. Paradoxically, the 1.8 version is the most exuberant in performance and character of the engine. It is lighter, and is not throttled by the catalyst, while the 2 liters are more effective in behavior, but disappointing in performance. This does not mean that they are slow cars. On the other hand, on sporty driving, they are fun, and show a lot of determination. There remains the regret of not having wanted to put on the market a version that flaunted all the potential of an engine that, on the track, has defeated more gifted engines. There remains the regret of not having given a worthy heir to the glorious Ritmo Abarth, which, in terms of performance, has been at the top of the category for years.